130 calendar days. Rebecca Castor has the billionaire's parting words from D.C.
After 4 months of being the face of slashing government spending, Elon Musk is trusting the Trump administration to carry on the Doge mission without him.
This is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning.
While Musk is leaving, having fallen short of his ambitious $2 trillion goal, he says Doge did cut
over 160 billion, and that's climbing. We expect that number will probably go over 200 billion soon.
And we likely haven't seen the last of him.
Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling it's his baby. Americans owe him a great debt of gratitude.
And I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
With mass layoffs and aggressive cuts to government agencies, Musk quickly became public enemy number one. And his businesses like Tesla suffered for it.
We became like essentially the Doge boogeyman, where if so any cut anywhere would be ascribed to Doge.
It's good that he's gone. It was a short period of time, but a guy like him could do a lot of damage in a short period of time.
And Musk found fixing Washington's spending problem wasn't as easy as he thought it might be. He's not happy with Trump's big, beautiful bill the House recently passed, which could add trillions to the national debt over the next decade. Musk's exit also comes amid new concerns over his drug use on the campaign trail and while working for the administration, accusations he refused to acknowledge today. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox 13 News.
Well, President Trump said today that he is going to double the tariff rate on steel from 25% to 50%. He made that announcement during a visit to Pennsylvania to celebrate a partnership between Japan's Nippon Steel and the American company U.S. Steel. President Trump campaigned against such a deal, only to help broker it once in the White House. He said he didn't want a foreign company to overtake an American one, but now he says this agreement would create 70,000 jobs and inject $14 billion into the economy while keeping U.S. Steel under American control.
It would be controlled by the United States. Otherwise, I wouldn't make the deal. I went to the unions, all of the local unions. They all wanted it.
Now, just before leaving office, former President Biden blocked Nippon Steel's bid to buy the company because of national security concerns. But this pending deal is now being called a partnership rather than an outright sale. Since President Trump took office, the price of steel products has increased roughly 16%. That's according to the government's Produce Price Index.
Awe-inspiring performance. With the power to slice through grass like it's nothing. For a cut the nation.
We're following some very big breaking news tonight. News that will come as a big blow to Donald Trump and his agenda. Tonight, a 3-judge panel in New York has effectively blocked almost all of Trump's disastrous tariffs. Trump's tariffs against Mexico and Canada, his tariffs against the EU, against China, his tariffs against uninhabited islands with nothing but penguins and snow. They are all blocked by this federal court decision. It comes out of the United States Court of International Trade, which is a specialized court you may or may not have ever heard of, but it deals specifically with trade issues. A 3-judge panel consisting of 1 Reagan appointee, 1 Obama appointee, and crucially and importantly, 1 Trump appointee, ruled unanimously that Trump's trade war is essentially illegal, that he does not have the authority to enact these sweeping tariffs on his own. When Trump signed the executive order enacting these tariffs, he cited something called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a law that gives the president the authority to use tariffs in times of national emergency. And in their ruling tonight, the judges write, quote, "The question is whether the International Emergency Economic Powers Act delegates these powers to the president in the form of authority to impose unlimited tariffs on goods from nearly every country in the world. The court does not read the law to confer such unbounded authority and sets aside the challenged tariffs imposed thereunder. The law does not grant tariff authority to the president simply when he finds or determines that an unusual and extraordinary threat exists." I sense a little snark there. I appreciate it. But man, when you put it that way, it all kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not an expert in international trade law, but Trump's justifications for these tariffs have always been pretty thin, as Chris and I were just talking about. Trump claimed his tariffs on Canada were to stop fentanyl trafficking, even though less than 1% of the fentanyl we seize at the border comes from Canada, less than 1%. Now, for the first time, we have a federal court saying that we all kind of sort of knew to be true already. The president's justification for this trade war is BS. And that is not all. The court tonight also ordered that all of the tariffs Trump has collected so far be vacated. Just how that will work, especially from a White House that doesn't exactly abide by every court order, and what that will all mean, I do not know. This is just breaking this news in the last couple of hours, but I have the right person to ask. Starting us off tonight is Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, who co-led this lawsuit against Donald Trump's tariffs. Attorney General Mays, thank you for joining us on such short notice. This all just happened in the last couple of hours, as you well know. Let me just start, because I think we're all trying to digest this, and people at home are wondering what this exactly means. It's our understanding that this ruling applies to all tariffs except for the ones imposed on steel and aluminum. First, is that right? And can you just give us the scope of the impact of this ruling tonight?
Sure. Thanks, Jenna. Thanks for having me. It's a huge day for American consumers, for small businesses all throughout this country who were on the precipice of being absolutely devastated and harmed by these tariffs. And so we are celebrating this. We, like you, are still digesting it. But essentially, you're right. I mean, the Court of International Trade, in a very thoughtful decision, said that essentially all of the tariffs that Donald Trump engaged in under IEEPA, basically the April tariffs, are unlawful, and so they are enjoined. They are essentially enjoined as of tonight, as you and I are speaking. It looks like the Trump administration has made it clear they're going to try to appeal this decision.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably seek.
Yes, 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 yes. Back in the building with another podcast vlog. And this is RD Podcast. And I'm your host, Han 5000. And usually I'm saying good morning, good morning, good morning. But I'm saying good evening, good evening, good evening. This episode right now is going to get into the weed hours of the morning. And if I'm not too tipsy and if I'm strong enough, I'll wake up in the morning and do this shit again at 8, 9 o'clock. It won't be at 6 a.m. But I'm hanging out with y'all. Listen, if you're new to this channel, please double tap that button, hit the notification button, hit the subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. And if you feeling froggy today, donate to the channel. Bob O Goods, what's good, man? Donate to the channel. Donate to the channel. That's my goal today. I want y'all to donate to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like. And if you don't donate, do me one thing, two things: like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. That's it. Shout out to Candy Kang for the joint. And listen, the night is the night. I know around 11:30 to the 1 o'clock hour is Troll Central. Now, I'm going to have my mods going to pop in and out. But the mods, tonight, we going to pay attention to the troll because the Glock off safety and I'm knocking off the troll head. I'm knocking off the troll head tonight. So y'all can say some crazy shit, Whoopi Goldberg jokes, are you a female? All that jokes tonight. I'm Glock off safety. But we got the boy Zion Williams on the chopping block, allegations against him. Donald Trump said he's considering, if Diddy found guilty and he's not treated fair, he's considering pardoning him. We got the boy Larry Hoover. We want to learn more about Larry Hoover. If you don't know about Larry Hoover, I'll be digging in the crates about, you know what I mean, for Larry Hoover. And Offset and Cardi B Messy Divorce, man. We got to get into the messy divorce stuff today. We ain't gonna play no games. The messy divorce stuff is everything. But please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. Let's go. Drop a like, leave a comment. Sure, I gotta get into Diddy trial.
Threatened, abused, underpaid, and even one who claims she was sexually assaulted. Are they going to be the downfall of the rap mogul? Their testimony is explosive and so important to this sex trafficking and racketeering case. We are going to go through what they had to say and how it fits into the overall charges. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Brown. Okay, we're back. Another day in Sean Combs' criminal sex trafficking, racketeering, prostitution trial. We have another recap of today's testimony. This is the continued testimony of alleged victim Mia testifying under a pseudonym. There's a lot to break down with respect to her direct testimony, her cross-examination by the defense. Remember yesterday, she testified that she was verbally, physically, sexually assaulted by Sean Combs, goes to potentially forced labor as the underlying crime of racketeering. Prosecutors have to prove at least two.
Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. I don't want to get into Diddy right now. I'm gonna get into Diddy a little later, man. What y'all want? I want to get into Zion Williams. What the fuck, Zion Williams? Bombshell lawsuit and allegation against my man Zion Williams. Fox Sports reported.
So there's a new story out about Zion Williamson.
Let's go.
And to make it official, So there's a new story out about Zion Williamson. And to make it official, Isaac Lowenkron, you've been reading the story for all your updates. Can you just, can you give me that the story about Zion currently?
Yeah, sure. This started yesterday in Los Angeles Superior Court. An unidentified woman filed a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault as well as physical, emotional, and financial abuse during a multi-year relationship. So that happened yesterday in LA Superior Court. Now, a short time ago, Williamson's attorney issued a statement replying, and it read in part, and I'll go into some other details other than what I mentioned in our report just now. The rest of the statement included, quote, Mr. Williamson and the plaintiff never dated, but did maintain a consensual, casual relationship that began more than 6 years ago when he was 18 years old. That relationship ended years ago. At no point did the plaintiff raise any concerns. Only after the friendship ended did she begin demanding millions of dollars, unquote. The statement also alleged, quote, this is the plaintiff's third set of attorneys, unquote.
Yeah, so do you want me to break it down for you? I mean, do we all kind of figure out what's going on here?
Sparkle Terra Square. More choices, more value.
So we tapping into the boy Zion Williams. If y'all don't know who Zion Williams is one of my favorite players. He's the big man out of New Orleans Pelicans. He's been there for 6 years. Zion signed almost a $200 million deal. It's flaw in his deal because he played about 200 games in the last 6-7 years, and that ain't it. You know what I mean? But I believe in Zion. I think somebody gonna pick him up. Zion just got to get healthy and run a whole season, and they'll be back on it. But these allegations might get you fired. Yeah, and we're gonna check into it. I think the Pelicans is parting ways with him.
Yes. Yeah, I know no details. But even from all of this, she was a chick he hooked up with more than once. Probably wherever she lived. Does she live in Los Angeles? Is that what it was filed in Los Angeles?
It did not say. It was just filed in LA Superior Court.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it likely means she lives in Los Angeles. So when he would come to LA, that was his LA girl, right? And the emotional and financial abuse element of it feels like, hey, you promised me you'd give me some money and you'd take care of me. And either you didn't to the level that I think I should be taken care of, or you didn't at all because that wasn't what it was all about to you. Right? It's a pretty reasonable. I don't know about the sexual abuse. All I know is that usually if you're abused sexually, you go to the police and the police do rape kit or there'd be a criminal charge. In this particular case, it feels really hard to believe because, again, if it was consensual and if it was not ongoing all the time, but when he came to LA, then that tracks. And yeah, it doesn't feel like it's the strongest case in the world. I don't want any woman to ever feel like they could be violated. And if you are violated, go to the authorities and charge people to the fullest extent of the law. But yeah, this is, on the other hand, there's an expression. And the expression goes like something like this: "Sleep with the dogs. Don't be surprised when you get fleas." There's been rumors this is like a Instagram model, and she has some prodigious features to her, and it's like one of those things. Like If you just date normal people, you'll get normal results. If you date people that aren't normal, abnormal things happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is an abnormal thing. Again, if he did something bad, then he should pay for it. If she's making it up, she should pay for it, and it's equally it's awful.
Yeah,
the whole story bad.
Yeah, yeah.
The biggest issue I see is like it's not an isolated one with him. It's not. He was hurt again this year. He was heavy again this year, and they have a new general manager in New Orleans. And the report out today was no one is immune to being traded. No one is immune to being traded.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that includes Zion, who is supposed to resurrect the Pelicans, and it just hasn't happened. I'm willing to believe these are categorically false, reckless allegations. It seems like most of us read into it and know, yeah, I don't know. Again, you can't choke a woman. You can't, rough up a woman. You can't violate a woman. If he did any of these things, he should go to jail, not just pay a fine or not just pay damages. But that's not what this is about. This is about like a kind of continuation of who he's associated with, how he's carrying himself, how he's still not gotten himself into consistent shape, and why he keeps getting hurt, and the fact that the franchise that was supposed to be built around him is like, if you want him, just make a good offer and you can have him. Feel like that to anybody else? Bursch, Ilo?
Yeah, I think he's keeping bad company because, like you said, he either possibly did this stuff, which is criminal, or he's in civil court, so he might have to pay out for this. But he's putting people around him who look at him as a possible something to exploit. So that could be the other side of the coin.
Well, that's the other thing. It is really sad, right? It's just sad that, and this is kind of what we do. This is kind of what we do, where we have what we do is we put people in positions they're not equipped for. Like he was a YouTube sensation. He went to college. Nowadays, he would have made gigantic money in NIL. But putting people out in the professional world when they're an obvious target, and saying, hey, you're a professional, live on your own, figure things out. Unless you have the best guidance, unless you have mom and dad looking over your shoulder, sometimes living with you, like this is what happens. Guys just aren't ready for that. They're just not ready for it. And yeah, that's when it's sad. Does it make you mad? Because you're like, man, I would kill for that much, just a quarter of that much talent. Of course. But it's also sad that people see dollar signs and people want to exploit athletes like a Zion Williamson. And I don't know if he's being exploited or not. I'm not going to sit here and say I know exactly what's going on there. I have zero idea.
And by the way, for context, the first two picks of that year's draft, number 1, Zion Williamson, number 2, John Morant, ironically. But I remember back to the 2018-2019 season, Zion Williamson, when he was winding up, ending his college career and beginning his college career at Duke, he was arguably the biggest non-NFL story in sports during that season. Remember when his shoe exploded on the court during that game? That was like the biggest story in the nation in sports for the next 3 days. I know it was back before the pandemic in 2019, but it's hard to overstate how big of a story he was in sports during his year at Duke back then.
Yeah, it's really, really he was bigger than big. He was the YouTube sensation. Anybody who says he's a YouTube sensation, nothing in comparison to what Zion Williamson was. Zero. But is there still time for a turnaround? Yeah. I mean, look, still statistically dominant this year when he played, but just too many of these
injuries,
too many of these types of stories.
Maybe a change in scenery would suit him well.
Yeah, but will it? Then there's just a whole new group of people that are going to try and feast on his fame.
New Orleans,
And he obviously doesn't know how to defend. I don't know. New Orleans is a real
Temptation town, Sin City of
No question.
the southeast.
South, yeah.
Yo, what up, Rick? Sure, it's Zion Williams. So I believe that too. I don't believe that Zion is going out here vaping women or assaulting no women. I just believe, Big Zion was a big young boy for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Big Zion was a big young boy for a minute. And Zion, he just, he young, man. He came in the league 19 years. He been in the league 6 years, bro. 200 million, all types of night, y'all. And then people just playing with him, bro. He just playing with him. I just think though he gets some better people around him, man, to handle things a little different, man. Zion to be all right, but Zion need to just this off season, Zion need to work and condition and train, bro, and give us a full NBA season like Young and them big guys, yo. You know what I'm saying? Hey, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. Raw Dope definitely in the building. Everybody that's tapping in, I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? Hit that notification button, hit that like button, drop a like, leave a comment. Do me one favor though, donate to the channel, man. We trying to get the streaming equipment set up so y'all can see a little bit more of the space. You get what I'm saying? Y'all see a little bit more of the space, man. But it's 94 people in the chat, man. Run those likes up, man. I don't know. It's been a long time since the likes is up. Everything is up. I'm feeling good tonight. We tapping in. We can't wait till the vampire hours, 12 o'clock. I'm going in. But Zion Williams, man. I'm a big fan of Zion Williams. And I've been meaning to get to New Orleans and catch a game, but he always hurt. But wherever Zion Williams go, I'm going to be a fan. I'm going to be a supporter. You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Out of My Head podcast. Shout out to you, Out of My Head podcast. I really appreciate you, man. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? I'm going to check your shit out, man. I really appreciate you for checking my content out. But Zion, that's my guy, man. I just think Zion, people ain't around him. You got a lot of money in the industry. And with Zion having a lot of money in the industry, things happen, man. You know what I mean? You make stupid decisions. You get people around there trying to extort you. Basically, yo, I no disrespect, but to Zion, I'm a fan of his since Duke days. He a big dummy, man. Big stupid young boy with money, yo. You know what I'm saying? He's a big boy, big goofy with money. I'm not saying goofy in the negative name, but that's a big young boy with money, and whatever he want, he could buy. And then people, and I'm quite sure these women that he's running across are a little older than him, and they just got game, bro. Probably got a pimp. Like, when you see a cow, you milk it. When you see something sweet, you get busy with it. But also, something sweet can take your life. Don't ever forget that. I want y'all to note that just because something sweet don't mean that sweet situation could kill you. You know what I mean? Don't ever get to thinking if you getting over on this woman can't kill you, you getting over on this man, something happened, this man blackout. That's why it's cool and it's in your best interest just to be a buck. Fucking people over can be very detrimental to your growth and development, especially when you giving out the information. You so real, you so 100. Don't do this to me. You know what I mean? When you one of them people, you can really get yourself hurt. If you just a regular Joe and watch what you say and move the way you move, it won't make a person want to kill you. It make a person don't fuck with you. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that word. It make a person don't want to hurt you in the worst way. It make a person just cut you off or get their lick back or just cut you off. My thing is, as a man, it ain't more about getting a lick back for me. It's more about a cutoff notice. I'm really big on that. You know what I'm saying? Cutoff notice. That's what I like to do. You know what I'm saying? Cut off notice. You know what I mean? I learned this from the movie Gotti. The last Gotti. I knew this already, but the John Travolta part of Gotti made it make sense. And I think the original Gotti did it too. Angelo, if I'm not mistaken, was Gotti cousin. Angelo was a gangster, he was an earner and all that, but Angelo ran his mouth too much. Angelo said some things over the phone, and in the mafia world, that would get you killed. That while Lake of my salam, rock with Tola, brother, that would get you killed. And he said some things that'll get you killed. And when you give in a pass, on that level, you just have to be grateful, man. You know what I'm saying? So with Zion Williams or anybody's situation, you just can't get over on people because that'll just be like something out of passion. You know what I mean? That'll just be something out of passion. Zion just making mistakes. You can make them, a lot of our mistakes happen at 30, 40, 50. You even can make a mistake at 60, but a lot of your more detrimental mistakes is under 30. It's a learning experience. That's why it's called under 30. But I believe Zion to get it together and move forward. You know what I mean? But to everybody out there, 118 people tapping in tonight, don't play games, bro, because you could play games in the game world, but don't come into the real world. Don't go around real people that's a buck playing at 85, playing at 50. That's dangerous. You know what I mean? That's my advice on that. So we got to get into it. What else they got to say about my man Zay? Because I on my man, bro. Like, I don't even want nobody to get out on my mind. I want Shorty to go somewhere and get right. You know what I mean? I want him to go somewhere and get right, bro.
Everybody. Just hours after reports surfaced this morning that everyone on the Pelicans roster was potentially available in trade discussions, a far more consequential and disturbing piece of news is broken for the New Orleans Pelicans. Franchise centerpiece Zion Williamson has been accused of rape as well as abusive, controlling, and threatening behavior. In a lawsuit filed on Friday in Los Angeles Superior Court, Williamson's ex-girlfriend made those charges under the name Jane Doe. She alleges that the former number one pick threatened to have a security guard shoot the plaintiff multiple times here in Louisiana over 4 years between 2020 and 2023. She also alleges that Williamson threatened to kill her parents. She states that Williamson monitored her location and who she interacted with, followed her, and monitored her online activities while also entering her apartment on multiple times without permission, along with the physical abuse and sexual assault allegations. These are obviously very disturbing, though Williamson, of course, is innocent until proven guilty. A number of legal analysts have already suggested that this case will be settled out of court, even if Williamson does not ultimately make any admission of guilt. That case will resolve itself however it does. But for the New Orleans Pelicans, you have to wonder if this is not the straw that breaks the camel's back. Do Gail Benson and Joe Dumars now decide that Zion's problems outweigh his tremendous talent and send Zion away during this offseason? This is just the latest in a disturbing pattern of immature and self-destructive behavior for Zion Williamson, and patience from the fan base to the executives for the organization has to be running thin. I'm not sure if it matters what Zion says or does at this point. It just may be time for him to move on and try to rehab both his image and his career somewhere else. This clearly compromises the Pelicans as they try to extract the most value for their former number one pick, but it could also be an example of addition by subtraction. Stay tuned for Boot Crew Media for the latest Pelicans news throughout this season, and don't forget to check out the Post Up with David Grubb on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We'll, of course, be following this, but ultimately, this is not good news. Whether you are pro-Zion Williamson or anti-Zion Williamson as far as being the face of this franchise, for it to end potentially this way is not something anyone would want. You have compassion, of course, for the alleged victim, and you just feel really bad about how things have gone, and that ultimately that we've reached this point, whether the allegations are true or not. It's just that Zion Williamson continues to find himself in these situations, and he's got to be better. He's got to be smarter, and the place for him to learn that lesson may no longer be New Orleans.
All right, so I'm gonna get into that, man. So let me get an offset now. So hey, Zion Williams, I don't believe it, man. I don't believe he did that shit, but Zion gotta tighten up, man. So Cardi B went crazy on Offset. Now I don't really get into this a lot, but they've been going bananas, bro. You know what I mean? They've been going bananas, and I'm like any other dude. I think in the man world we want prenups. You get what I'm saying? And like, if you getting a divorce, you want the wife and the kids, or any real man, any real leader, man. You know, boss, really a boss type nigga might do some old wild shit, but a leader type dude is more happy to say, hey, listen, you know, long as the kids good and y'all got a safe foundation, I'm not putting you through changes in court. Like, you know what I mean? That's kids play, bro. Like, why let, you know, most of the time it's a Caucasian judge and lawyers get all this money to do nothing. Look, man, we going to do this, we going to do that. Whatever we got to do, let's make it work and let's walk in the courtroom with our golden objective and then part ways. The nasty shit is just nasty, bro. And this is nasty. This is nasty. Please hit that notification button. Please hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Leave a comment. Let's go. Let's go, man. Roll up if you rolling up. You know what I mean? Please hit that notification button. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Leave a comment.
Cardi B has a few choice words for Offset after he requested spousal support during their divorce.
I could have a good month. I could have a bad month. I could be in a room, but guess what? I have to pay that bill. No help. With no help. Nobody, me. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Those are my kids. I'm cool with that. Shit don't faze me. But you're not going to sit here and try to bash me as a mother when I pay for everything. Because you left me with a bill for a whole entire year. And I haven't said a thing. You don't even offer. So stop playing with me. Dad, I'm trying to keep everything. What is everything? What's everything? What's everything? You want to split the Atlanta house? Let's split it. Yo, I'm still paying. He hasn't paid the mortgage for a whole year in the Atlanta house. You're in the Atlanta house right now. And your bitch be going over there. And I want you, and you know what's so crazy?
Dang.
I've been wanting to go over there and clap shit the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, I'm paying for the bill and that
What up,
shit.
Prophet?
You
You see
shit
me?
for a whole year. But you know what?
You see me, Prophet?
You ask me so much when I be with my, that I just want peace. I want peace. You want to be with your bitch in this house? All right, fine. Just please leave me alone. I just want, leave me the alone. I just want to be left alone. I want to be free. What, baby, whatever the you want, I'll give it to you.
Dang.
I just want to be free. I don't want to be called 40,000 times. And I've been trying to protect your image. But you asking me for spousal support, and it's like, wow, that's some real bitch shit. And then when people ask you for spousal support, you're trying to make it seem like because I'm a bad mom. Well, when you tell that I'm a bad mom, make sure you tell that Cardi B, Belcalis, Marlenis, and Manzar is paying $50,000 a fucking month for our kids, because you don't help me with nothing. Go tell the people when's the last time you seen your fucking kids. And you know what you did? You know what you did? You know what you did? You coerced my daughter. You did a video, and you keep this video. I don't give a
Damn.
I take a picture every single day. I can tell you every single day where I be at work. You coerced my daughter to say on FaceTime, oh, I miss my mommy. She's never here. She this, and that. And every single day you with that video. Like, if I don't be busting my ass for them mother kids. And you know I was going to stay quiet. But you're not going to be sitting here in the industry trying to say that I'm a mom. Bust my ass for these kids. And you haven't helped me with shit for a year. You need help. You need to go to, I don't know where you need that. You need some help. I've been giving you grace because I know you're not mentally well. I've been giving you some grace because I know you're not mentally well. But enough, enough.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Like, bitch, you're going to call the Breakfast Club, and because you feel less of a man, you're going to be like, Oh, because she's trying to take everything. Take what? Take what? You want, matter of fact, you want the house in Atlanta? All right, let's sell it. Give me my half. Give me my half of the house. All you gotta do is give me my half of the house, and you can keep it. You want them cars and bags and blah 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 that you gave me? All right, give me the same shit too. I give you the rings that you bought me, and you give me the ring that I bought you. I give you the cars, you give me the cars that I bought you.
Aye.
You trying to say that I'm trying to keep everything? Like what? When's the last time you paid a bill in your kid's life? You haven't paid for shit. You haven't paid over a year. Ever since you're not in the house anymore, you haven't paid for nothing. And I don't even ask you for nothing. And I swear to God, they didn't want the fucking come on spaces and spaz out. But for you to try to go around and try to say these type of things, like it's like you're you don't think I got a mouth? You don't think I got a mouth too? That's why you don't give grace. I've been giving you grace and not crashing out online after so much shit that you be doing behind the scenes. Because like I said, my man's be telling me, yo, stop doing that. You're like a clown when you do that shit. Why are you putting your business out there? Fine. But when you give praise like you don't appreciate it. And now you're trying to dirt me. You're an evil ass, bro. You're mad evil. You're evil as. Like, goddamn, I just want to be left alone. I want to be left alone. You're in a whole relationship. You're in a whole relationship. Why don't you give a what I'm doing? God, Jesus Christ, I just want to be free. Sign the papers.
Sign the fucking papers. Sign the papers, Offset. Sign the fucking papers, Offset. Offset, sign the papers. Bring Cardi back home to the real niggas. Real shit, yo. Like, and you're a millionaire. And she's saying that, like, come on, bro. But it's a situation where, Cardi B got way more hits. I mean, Cardi is a solo artist, and Cardi, since the kids and the pregnancy, she had 3 or 2 kids, whatever she had though. Since when Cardi came out, she came off hard as fuck. In 6 months, 2 back-to-back mixtapes, then the album, the debut album, everything was going to hit after hit after hit. Cardi was in our bag till she got with that nigga. You feel me? And I'm not even gonna lie. The last song they did together when they was like had like the California vibe, I love that song. I love that song. Me and my girl, we fuck with that song. I was cheering for them. You know what I'm saying? I was cheering for them, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm a man, so I stand on the bro code 100%. But I don't stand on no fuck shit, no fake shit, and no foolishness, bro. And I think like Cardi was more like a Bronx girl, more like that New York vibe, and she was more like a solid person. Versus, Set was going Set just, you know what I mean? I got, industry dude, a real rich industry dude, and got so much popularity. I think he forgot, what matters the most. And now, she done moved on. He on a 10-1. Like Cardi ain't got bodies. She fucking with Stephon Diggs, from my understanding. You know what I mean? One of them basketball, football niggas, from my understanding. So that's why she said, just leave me alone. I moved on. You get what I'm saying? And that's cool. Because one thing that's very dangerous and very detrimental when you are a public figure. Now, if you're a public figure and you the public figure, and just say for instance, you on Wallow level, and then but your wife, she doing something good. She own her daycare. She do RN nurse. She might do salon work. She do her own thing. It's just not a media thing. She do her own thing. She got a page or whatever, but she don't make her money off of entertaining people. She make her money off of the grid. She make good money, but she make her money off the grid. That's not a public relationship. That's that you can have a private affair, but when you and your significant other you know what I mean, are both public figures, bro, you can't move a certain type of way. And then when you start having kids in these public relationships, it's different. And I'm always going to side with the family. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. You know what I mean? I know. You know, y'all know about the channel, and y'all know I go out the meat racket. But one thing that I always advocated for, you know, since day one of my channel, just in life, is for the family. You get what I'm saying? The family counts. You get what I'm saying? The family counts. You know what I mean? So I'm never cheering for a man or a woman to fuck up something. But I'm also saying if it's gonna bring more hurt, pain, trauma, maybe prison, maybe death, and more disrespect, cut it off. Go through what you gotta go through in that process, but cut it off, bro. Don't stray along something that could be detrimental to your growth and development. I don't believe in that at all. You know what I mean? Don't play no games. As bad as something that can hurt. You know what I mean? And like I said, when something hurt, you just don't walk out on it and just you gone. Yeah, it take a month or two, but if that mission is to let that go, it's gonna be let go. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Y'all both successful. I'll say you can jump on the road, make millions. Cardi can jump on the road and make millions. I don't see why I would need spousal support unless I'm fucked up. And the type of dude I am, and the type of dude that my media circle are, is like, yo, all right, I left my baby mother or my wife or whatever. In his case, it's his children mother and his wife. It's not a baby mother thing. So he'll never call her his baby mother because it's his wife and his children mother. So at the end of the day, it ain't working. She a bigger bag than me. Now I feel like, look, yo, we make the divorce and do it even and whatever. I get this and that. I'm more of a real nigga to say, yo, we really loved each other. And I don't have to go through the court system to tell you, yo, I need some money till I get back on my feet, or I need some money till I get a hit. I'm not intervening with you and what your got going on. You ain't intervening with me got going on. And it ain't no such thing as ask my who I'm with now or me telling you ask him. No, yo, listen, it's over. The love part, but the friendship and the conglomerate and the kid part of our relationship is not over. You know what I'm saying? It's not over. So at the end of the day, yo, I'm man enough to know, yo, we over with as far as our love, as far as our relationship. But man, love don't die overnight, bro. And if you see your kid's mother fucked up, you will see your kids fucked up because most in 90% of the cases, the kids live with the mother. So, from what I learned and my observation, shit, bro, you know what I'm saying? Hey, baby mama, wife, ex-wife, whoever get that money every year, bro. Like, why not do right by it? Then she'll do right by you. Because I've been told this, as a man from a woman, mind your motherfucking business. And that was them do right type niggas. Mind your business, yo. Don't even speak on this and stay out of it. Don't got nothing to do with you. I understood that. You know what I mean? I had to knuckle down and be like, damn, man, they didn't have nothing going on or nothing but mind your business when you step in that water. Only time you can mind your business is one party ain't doing right. Then you can speak freely, but if somebody doing right, that ain't none of your business. And I stand on that. If these people been married before and they got a good understanding, they not fucking and seeing each other on the side, I don't give a fuck, man. Let them people handle their business when it come to their kids. Less for me to do. That's how I think shit is. Boy, father and mother going to just have a moment right now. You know what I'm saying? If we ain't going, if that nigga wife ain't going, I ain't going. Like, let them people do their motherfucking thing, bro. Because that's how it's supposed to be in the community. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, yo, whatever my mother and father went through, I heard about it or I seen it. But whatever your mother and father go through, and now in 2025, you can hear about it and see it. If you never heard about it or see it, social media will help. Social media, it's gonna be a lot of kids hurt. A lot of kids gonna be trying to live like their parents over social media. There'll be a lot of fucked up shit going on, bro, because of this social media shit, bro. It's a motherfucker have an identity crisis. People are so stuck on this social media shit, bro. Shout out to the people on social media that help influencers get rich because, man, like if you look at this shit and go into that little shit and you see how long you be on that shit and then realize you don't benefit from that shit, man, that's a hard motherfucking pillow, yo. That shit, that's a lot, bro. It's like us in jail, bro. You know what I'm saying? Niggas say, boy, we sit in the cell, right, play game and TV all day. You gonna be here for the rest of your life. But let's get back into this. So I just feel like that I wouldn't ask for no spouse. I got too much pride spousal support. That means that you saying I need you. Like spousal support. That sound like some sucker shit. Nigga, if I'm with you, look, I need 100,000. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is wrong? I don't want you to pay me 50 bands a month. I can't do that.
The internet, if it's not one thing, it's another. But God dang.
Yeah, this shit on fire.
Went off on Offset after he filed for spousal support after her wild.
Offset lose a point in the bro book.
Listen up, y'all listening? Listen up. The fact that I'm waking up right now, right? The fact that I'm waking up right now to see that this and his team, I know it's not his team. I know it's his bitch ass.
Dang.
Gonna tell the Breakfast Club the only reason why this asking for spousal support because I was asking for everything. Because I was asking for everything and because I don't be with my kids. Yo, you such a pussy ass. Word to my mother. I want you to, but I want you to slow. I want you to die slow in the bed. And why you gotta think of me.
God. Cardi mad, y'all.
Right? When I first filed for child support, my lawyer filed for child support. I mean, when I first filed for divorce, my lawyer filed for shit. And just started spazzing, right? So I told my lawyer, there's a renew, what's that shit called? There's a renew,
Cardi going off on this, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, Cardi definitely went off on Offset. Offset. Cardi went off on Offset, bro. I know Offset mad as a motherfucker right now, because I would be. Like, y'all in the public eyes and she talking this gangster shit. I'm running back through though.
There's a renewed divorce paper, right? And then the renewed divorce paper, I asked for no child support. I didn't ask for no child support because I want to be done with this marriage. Like, I feel like I'm tied up. I asked for no child support. Kiari is allowed to see my kids. There is not one day that he's not allowed to see my kids. Okay? He stood up my kids 3 times. He has seen Blossom only like 5 times. Okay? And I've been trying to save your face. But for you, stop playing saying that I don't be seeing my kids. Stop playing because you don't want to look like a less of a bitch ass. All right. If I keep you away from the kids,
she said you don't want to look less than a bitch ass.
Every single day. You call the kids every single day. I allow you to talk to the kids every single day. If I allow you to talk to the kids, why would I not allow you not to see the kids? It was a point that he was making a big deal like, oh, I'm not going to go to New York to see the kids because I'm not going to be seeing my kids in a hotel room. I was like, all right, so you could see him in my mom's house. You still made it a big deal. And I love my daughter so much. Yo, if I'm lying, my kids could die if I'm lying. I said, you know what? To make it easier for you, you could see the kids in my house. Just because I want my daughter to feel the love of her dad. Because I want my kids to have that love of their dad. I want the love of both parents, even if we're not together. Also, the last time we seen the kids was in March on Cody's birthday. Okay? So before you start talking to me about I don't see my kids, let's talk about it. You haven't seen the kids since March. Okay?
So I'm kind of confused. And a lot of people are confused too.
Me too, yeah.
Cardi B's net worth is $100 million and Offset's net worth is $40 million. When Offset got with Cardi B was an upcoming artist. And Offset helped her get her so many business relationships. He put her in with QC for the marketing. He had her in the room with these people, and supposedly he wrote a lot of her songs. So now, fast forward to today, Cardi B's worth $100 million, Offset's only worth $40 million. So by law, whoever makes the most money and whoever is the primary breadwinner has to fork over the most. And that's the law. So at the end of the day, she makes more than him. He was with her, so he deserves spousal support. Women do this every single day, like all day. But now when he does it, it's his problem. But he does have a point, because I really feel like her relationship with Offset helped her career tremendously, literally tremendously. And then when they got together, they were like hip hop's couple, and it helped her, it helped him. But you have to understand, when she got with Offset, she didn't have no money, not his type of money. She was on Love and Hip Hop, but she wasn't no major artist like that. So getting with him helped her career, and I believe that he helped write her stuff. So he deserves that money. Why can't he get his bread? It's so crazy. Women scream independence all day, equality, and women can do what men do. But when stuff like this happens, oh, he's a F dude. He's a it's crazy. And then she had the audacity to say this when about Stephon Diggs. She told him, don't say nothing and listen.
I wasn't even gonna say nothing because my just told me, yo, I don't want you to address nothing anymore. And I be trying to keep it cute. But for you to call the Breakfast Club and be like, oh, the reason why I'm asking for spousal support is because she wants everything. Everything like what? Everything like what? The gifts that you gave me? Bitch, you want it back? All right, so give me the gifts that I gave you back. What? You want money for the house for Atlanta? Fine, we could split that. Whatever the you put down on the house, we could split that. I don't give a My house in Jersey, I bought it myself, so you're not getting from my house that I work my ass off. He acting like I be out and I be a whole week with a no. I be with a for once a week, 2 times a week. It gets to the point that my man go see me because I don't got time to go see him. He makes time for me. Because he know I'm busting my ass. Because he know how much this new era for me, my tour, and my album means so much to me. But you don't like that.
Dunkin' Refreshers.
So we got Cardi right there speaking how she feel. And so to double back on the brother, he said, women been doing that shit for men for years. I agree with that 100%. But I was raised a little different, bro. That shit ain't that serious. Like, if I got 40 million, she got 100 million. I don't give a fuck. Beat it. You get what I'm saying? Like, beat it. You know what I'm saying? Beat it. You don't need nothing for me. She make a comment about her and a nigga. Thank you. You get what I'm saying? But that's different strokes with different folks. But I wasn't me tripping on no bread, bro. Like, I'll play bread games as we was married and I didn't have no children. I might be ignorant and prolong some shit like that, just being an asshole. But we got children, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Long as my kids good. And I could see my kids when I want to see my kids, bro. Here we go. Sign it over. You get what I'm saying? Because obviously both of them moved on. So it's nothing to be naive or going. It's no games being played in the middle of it. It's not like somebody trying to hold on somebody and play all these stupid ass games. We both moved on. I don't need the money. 40 million in my account. She got 100 million. I don't see the difference. Call me money blind. You know what I'm saying? I heard you. I know 60 million on top of 40 is 100. But I got 40 million dollars, bro. I'm living how I want to live. Cardi's gonna live how she want to live, and I'm glad she got 60 more million because my kids up. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't, I think different. I'm at that point, it's your kids, your kids up. They're gonna have a good house. Long as that nigga don't ever think that he's a father to my kids, I'm cool. For real. It ain't nothing come out about the kids. You get what I'm saying? That's what I be tripping off of. Like, long as that nigga don't got nothing to do with them, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Other than that, there's no argument on it. I don't see no argument. What it is. So let's get into Larry Hoover. The boy Larry Hoover, man. I gotta get into my man Larry Hoover. Then we gonna end it out with President Trump and Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Well, we ain't ending it out for a couple seconds. Let's get into Larry Hoover. You know what I mean? It's not about Hoover.
Out of there, if you're a prisoner, is in a body bag. These are bad guys. Those are the only two options Larry Hoover has. It's just a who's who of America's biggest criminals. He was still running criminal organizational operations from behind bars. President Trump just commuted the federal prison sentence for one of the most notorious gang leaders in Chicago history. Larry Hoover has been behind bars since 1973, and while his federal sentence has been commuted, he is not a free man yet. Today, we're going to explain how he ended up locked up in the first place and his path forward from here. NBC5 investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy is our guest today. Chuck, thanks for helping us break this down today.
Alex, nice to be here.
So first, just tell us, who is Larry Hoover and what is he known for?
Well, the short answer is Larry Hoover is a 74-year-old gangbanger. Once you get past that, you can examine what he did inside this.
I want to buy your house.
Man, that's fucked up, man. They said my man Mr. Hoover, 74-year-old gangbanger. Cut it out, white man. I cut that out. That's fucked up, man.
Gang called the Gangster Disciples that had, fingers and tenants in all sorts of places across the country. 36 states, tens of thousands of operatives, gang members, so to speak. Hoover controlled them all, and to listen to some federal law enforcement officials, still does.
That's an amazing stretch. I mean, you talk about the fact that he's also been behind bars since 1973. A lot of the younger people watching this have no idea who Larry Hoover is or what he may have done, but they'll certainly know the name Gangster Disciples, and they certainly have felt the effects to some degree on the city of Chicago. Larry Hoover shaped the south side of Chicago to a large degree after growing up in Englewood and rose to become the head of this incredible gang empire that, like you said, stretched all across the country. The big news, though, is that he just got the federal sentence commuted. Break down, what does it mean when the president commutes a sentence?
So there are essentially two kinds of, quote, clemency in this country for people who have been sentenced to prison and are locked up. I mean, the first is a full-blown pardon, which means your record is wiped clean and you walk out of prison and you have nothing on your record. The second is a commutation, which means however long you've been locked up, we're going to let you go. And that's what's happened in this case. Hoover has been locked up for decades. President Trump signed a commutation, which means he walks out of the federal system. In Hoover's case, he will be walking straight into the state prison system as well because he still has some legal issues there.
Let's talk about why the feds and state police and any law enforcement basically who's ever come in contact with Larry Hoover consider him so dangerous. What made him end up in the Supermax prison in Colorado in the first place?
Well, the reason he ended up in the Supermax, just to back it up from there, is because he was still running criminal organizational operations from behind bars.
From state prison.
From state prison. And the best hope that at least law enforcement officials in this country have found to try to prevent that from happening, stop it from happening, or curb it at the very least, is to put somebody in these administratively sanctioned facilities. The Supermax in Florence, Colorado is one of those. You're in solitary confinement in most cases. You have almost no contact with anybody on the inside and hardly any contact ever with somebody from the outside. So your ability to run criminal rackets, whether it be for the mafia or for a street gang, is really limited.
They don't send you to Supermax for parking tickets. I mean, the list of people who are in there, it's just a who's who of America's biggest criminals. Got El Chapo, I think. Mm-hmm. Richard Reed, known as the Shoe Bomber.
Right.
Jeff Fort, who ran the El Rukins here in Chicago. 9/11 plotter Zacharias Moussaoui. I mean, these are bad guys.
Right, and that's why they're there. It's a relatively small facility in terms of numbers. I guess thankfully there aren't, thousands and thousands of people who deserve to be there. But the people who are there for a reason. And Larry Hoover would have been, at the top of the list of people from Chicago.
So it's just a matter of hours since that commutation came down from President Trump on the federal sentence part. As you mentioned, he's still convicted and sentenced under state law. Do we know where Larry Hoover is right now?
Well, as far as we know, he is still at the Supermax in Colorado. They're preparing to move him back to Illinois. It may have happened 5 minutes ago. It may happen this weekend. It will happen at some point because the federal government no longer has a hold on him. When he comes back to Illinois, he will be immediately put into a state prison, a maximum security state prison. He's still being held in Illinois, or will be anyway, on a sentence of 150 to 200 years for similar things that caused him to be locked up in the federal system. And he will be there in state prison in Illinois until he has a parole hearing here, or the governor decides that he's going to commute his state sentence as well.
Okay.
We've not heard officially from the governor on this, but those are the only two options Larry Hoover has.
Let's go,
to see
baby. I'm
actual
waiting
freedom
on you.
out on the street.
Obviously, Hoover's family is celebrating this. His supporters are celebrating this. But he was convicted in 1973 on a murder, and that's what's putting him back behind state bars right now. Do we know how long this process could take in terms of parole, the next steps for him to actually have him potentially be a free man?
Right. Well, if Governor Pritzker were to commute his state sentences, it would be as quick as the Trump commutation.
Okay.
There's no reason to believe that that's going to happen. Some people don't think that Pritzker has much of an appetite to do that. There's nothing politically in it for him to speak of. And he doesn't necessarily want to follow in the footsteps of Donald Trump. They're not best of friends.
They don't see eye to eye on all this stuff.
So if you set that aside, then the parole mechanism is not overnight. It's not fast. It requires the submission of current paperwork. There's a hearing. There is debate by the state parole authorities. And then there's a vote. And he's been up for parole previously. He's eligible for parole now based on the way that Illinois law was back in the 70s. The last time it came to a vote in Illinois, I think there was only one vote in favor and the overwhelming majority against letting Larry Hoover out.
Let's talk about some of the things really quick that federal prosecutors say that Larry Hoover did and he was convicted of. I got a quote from Ron Safer, who led the prosecution under Operation Vacuum. The DEA agents who gave it that name, they don't have a great sense of humor. Maybe they did. Operation Vacuum for Hoover.
They need TV rights.
They do. Here's a quote from Ron Safer, saying that Hoover, quote, ran a gang from prison that was responsible for the highest murder rate the city has ever seen, a drug network that was pervasive and efficient, and an organization that controlled parks and street corners and neighborhoods and made it impossible for children to go outside and be children, unquote.
Let's talk about your next match. She's 31.
I get along much better with girls in their 20s.
Man, I hope y'all listen to this, man. We're going to break it down, and I'm going to give y'all my input. Please hit that notification button, that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, man. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. We up 12:30. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Was making $100 million a year in drug sales. When you go back as well and you look at the murder rate in Chicago, just on a totality year to year, people think it is bad in the recent years, and it is pretty bad for a couple of years recently, but not compared to the early 90s and the early 1970s when this drug war was going on.
Right.
Can you give any color to that effect in terms of what the feds are talking about, how bad it really was when Larry Hoover was running things?
Well, it was pushing 1,000 murders a year. And nearly all of them had some connection to the drug and gang trade in Chicago. And Larry Hoover owned and operated that. Nothing happened in that area, those arenas, without Hoover's knowledge and most likely approval. And so that's kind of the backdrop for all of this. And that's why federal law enforcement, federal prosecutors across the board are saying that this is not somebody who should be on the street. And even if there has been a come to Jesus by Larry Hoover from the Supermax prison, that there are certain people in this country who don't deserve mercy. And they say Larry Hoover is among that few.
Yeah, just to give a little bit of description to what Larry Hoover's supporters and Larry Hoover himself has said, this is a letter that Larry Hoover wrote a couple of years ago, owning up to what he did, saying he accepts full responsibility. He can honestly assess and appreciate the magnitude and scope of the harms my actions had wrought. It's a longer letter, of course, than that. That's obviously been the argument that this is a changed man, even though he's done so much wrong in the past that he admits to. That is ostensibly part of the reasoning that President Trump issued this commutation. It's just going to be interesting to see how this plays out from here, considering the long length of conduct for which he has been locked up.
Right.
And yet he's going to be 75 in November, what the state might end up doing related to his freedom.
Well, just about everybody who's locked up in prison is changed in some way or another. And don't forget, if you want any chance at parole in Illinois or anywhere else,
you better ask for this. Yeah.
Well, there is an acceptance of responsibility that's required. If you walk in and say, I didn't do any of these things, I was wrongfully accused, I've been locked up against not only my will, but against the laws of Illinois, you're never going to get out. And so there is some selfishness by every prisoner to accept responsibility for what they were locked up for doing.
Yeah. I would like to have Larry Hoover Jr. on the podcast. I've invited him to come on because I would like to hear that family side of the story and just hear what a changed man they believe he is and how they think he can do some good for society at this point in time. That is the argument that they're putting forward anyway. Do we know, Chuck, you may not have the answer to this, if anybody from Supermax has ever been already commuted or pardoned?
Because we weren't able to find anybody.
Okay.
It hasn't been around there as long as Alcatraz.
Sure.
It's a relatively new facility, but they've had, as you listed out, some notorious people there. And at least from what we could find, the only way out of there if you're a prisoner is in a body bag.
Yeah.
There have been no commutations or pardons by anybody who's been locked up.
So he might be the first.
Possible.
All right. So to wrap this up, it was big news. I don't know if anybody really saw it coming. Maybe perhaps the family did if they have, inside contacts to the Trump administration. But what's your takeaway from just learning that this gang leader who ran rackets for decades is now at least had his federal commutation passed through?
Well, it would be interesting to have a philosophical conversation with President Trump about how much thought, if any, and what it was that he put into releasing this individual. He is different than many of the others who have been given clemency, not only by President Trump over the years, but by other presidents.
It's been normally white-collar crime for President Trump, and when it comes to pardons and commutation.
In most cases,
yeah.
The belief that somebody who did what Larry Hoover admits doing could be reformed and give something back to society is a debate that I'm no expert in. I'm not able to take one side or the other in it, but it would be interesting. The people who have been involved in those decisions, it would be interesting to hear what they've seen and why they've decided this.
Chuck, thanks for the time and explaining the process today. Appreciate it. Larry Hoover was and is a really big deal in the city of Chicago. He ran a gang behind bars for decades. Now, whether you think that he should die in federal prison or he should have been let out a long time ago, wherever you sit on that spectrum, it is undeniably a big deal that the federal government has decided to commute Larry Hoover's federal prison sentence, or that Donald Trump decided that on behalf of the government. The Supermax facility, it is where they send the worst of the worst. And that is what the government deemed Larry Hoover for a very long time, for all of the many things that he did, which he no longer disputes, leaving behind a trail of addiction and destruction in the city of Chicago and far beyond. Of course, what complicates this is that he is not a free man. So this fight will continue for freedom for Larry Hoover and his family, and we will ultimately see what the state decides to do. But the fact that we have gotten to this point about Larry Hoover taking this step toward redemption for his life is a massive, massive news story. And I know there are a lot of strong feelings about this case and what it says about Larry Hoover, our criminal justice system, the state, and the country. So that's my takeaway, just trying to digest the big news about President Trump commuting that sentence. I want to hear your takeaway. Leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that conversation, here are some other episodes of The Takeaway. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to listen on the go, check us out on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So there y'all go, man. That's a little bit about Larry Hoover when he was, and then I'm gonna get into some other little stories. Just a little stories, you know what I mean? Whatever, but so I don't really watch show no more the Florida boy, but
His name is Larry Hoover. He's the reputed.
I want to play this old
His name
skit.
is Larry Hoover. He's the reputed leader of the Black Gangster Disciples.
Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. Community is getting lit. 113 people in here. Let's get this up to 150.
He could soon be a free man. Tonight, he is breaking his silence. Channel 2's John Davis has the story you'll see first on Channel 2 News.
I've done my time. I paid my debt to society.
Larry Hoover, also known as King Larry, the reputed head of the Black Gangster Disciples. He is now 42 years old, older and wiser, he says.
Anytime you do a extensive amount of time, it could have two effects. It could harden you, or it can make you think. And I thought.
And apparently he's done a lot of thinking about stopping the senseless gang-related violence plaguing the streets of Chicago. Violence, he says, over vague ideologies.
One teenager don't like the other teenager because the way he wears his hat, because his ideology is different from his. A disciple don't like a vice lord. We all black people. There's no difference.
Hoover admits to being one of the architects of Chicago's fragile gang truce. He also takes credit for authorizing members of his so-called street organization to march on City Hall last May during a protest over plans to close healthcare clinics in African-American neighborhoods. After spending 20 years in the Illinois prison system, Larry Hoover has just about seen it all. He started out at the maximum security prison at Stateville. 6 years ago, he came here to Vienna, a minimum security prison in the southern part of the state. Some say it is the final step toward freedom. Hoover says he knows he can't change the past, but that he wants a chance to prove that he can be a positive influence on the future. John Davis, Channel 2 News.
Hoover's parole hearing is set for Thursday. On Wednesday, several prominent African-American leaders will testify in support of Hoover's release.
Yeah, Hoover went through a lot, man. OG got a lot of fighting to do, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, man. Now I gotta get into my bread and butter. You know what I mean? I gotta get into my bread and butter, what I like most. My man Diddy. So Donald Trump was in the Oval Office, shagging like he shagged. And he asked the questions. A reporter asked him the question, would he pardon P. Diddy? And he said he hasn't been asked that. That reporter was the first person that ever asked him some shit like that. And he said, if he's treated unjustly, it's a good thought. So that made me think of WWE and WrestleMania. I mean, he pardoned Young Boy. I mean, he let, the legend Larry Hoover go. And I really don't think that with the Larry Hoover situation, I don't think that President Trump made a crazy decision because Larry Hoover got 200 years in Illinois State Prison. So Donald Trump, like, hey, man been at ADX, he's 75 years old. I know it got to be hard at ADX. Before he left, Illinois prison, I'm quite sure with 52 years in on 200 years, I'm quite sure he ain't going to be maximum security. They got to move him to a minimum security joint. You know what I mean? I'm happy for y'all might think this is crazy, but I know Larry Hoover want to be free. Like I would want to be free. But hey, y'all can't forget, man, that man ain't had no motherfucking touch visits and seen his motherfucking family in a long time, bro. Face to face without being on the TV. That man get to hug his wife, hug his son, see his grandkids like face to face. So that might mean that I know that mean a lot to Mr. Hoover. That mean a lot to Larry Hoover. 100%. Larry Hoover is 100% happy to be back in Chicago because they had him in Florence, Colorado for decades. And now he, you really get to see your family. Like that's a lot, bro. He really get to pick up the telephone and use the telephone. But I'm 100% sure that the red carpet will be 100% laid down for Larry. And Larry going, you know what I'm saying? They going, Larry gonna get the red carpet treated. The best you could live in prison is the way Larry Hoover gonna live in Illinois State Prison. And I think his family's gonna fight. I think they're gonna get into the parole board. Everybody gonna fight again. And hopefully, if not this year, the top of next year, Larry hopefully this year, but Larry Hoover got to be able to, he has to be reevaluated on a whole nother level. He's 74 years old. He's been locked up 52 years. He's coming back to finish out a 200-year sentence. I'm quite sure he's not maximum security no more. He ain't had no tickets or nothing in the ADX. So they gotta, like they said, he was in that one joint. They gotta put him back damn near there in a minimum medium joint. And he get to see his family. So I guess for a dude like that been behind the door and been underground for so long, I think, you know what I mean, just seeing my family and getting touch visits and being able to pick up the telephone, and I'm quite sure some bikes running around the joint. You get him some bikes doing some willies and just learning that, you know what I mean, ADX, it was hard for him. Now he out of ADX. I ain't gonna lie, man, just from a convict standpoint of view and a person that been incarcerated a lot in his life, I gotta honestly say, for Mr. Larry Hoover, that just to be back in a state prison, it's a lot. For Larry Hoover to be back in a state prison, bro, is a lot from somebody that been, you know what I'm saying, that really been locked up before and just know, he was in ADX, bro. Y'all can go Google tonight when y'all get off of this live. Go Google ADX and how they move in ADX. He was underground since, the feds grabbed him in 97, and I think he was moved to ADX, like in 98 or whatever. So since 1998, bro, that's 08, that's 18, bro. That's almost 30 years. Larry Hoover ain't seen his family. Like, he seen his family through, monitors and all that shit, but he ain't touched his wife, bro. His wife went almost 30 years. A woman that's in love with her king and had kids by him and been riding it out with him, trying to walk her to the door with him. She old now. And I just pray, that they give him a second chance, because I think that he will have more positive influence on the GDs in Chicago. He could help them people more than he could hurt them. And you know what I mean? Again, free Larry Hoover, man. You know what I'm saying? I know they, they got to get him off of federal grounds because he's not their product. No, he's not their problem anymore. And like they said, like that reporter said, I'm 100% sure he's in the custody of Illinois by now. Illinois got Larry Hoover in their hands now. Illinois is the Midwest. Denver is the Midwest. I'm quite sure one flight get him right there, get him pat. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. You know what I mean? And then I'm mad for him because changing systems, it should have been some type of leeway, because he had a lot of stuff. And going from the feds to the state, I don't know if they let you take anything. But it's Larry Hoover, y'all. Larry Hoover gonna get a bag. Soon as he walk on it, y'all, motherfuckers gonna take care of Larry Hoover, so he can leave everything and mail everything where he need to go. But shout out to Larry Hoover, man. Let's get into this, though, man. The boy Diddy. So Donald Trump and my man Diddy.
Happened today in the courtroom for Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial. We've been relying so heavily on our colleagues at Fox 5 New York to help us tell this story, and Fox 5's Richard Giacobbe, reporter there, joins me outside the courthouse with the latest. Richard, so good to see you here. If you could, get us up to speed. What took place today?
You know, the drama and the twists and turns, Andrew, they never seem to end. Week 3 of testimony in this sex trafficking and racketeering trial against Sean Diddy Combs is now in the books, with his former personal assistant, one of them, under the pseudonym Mia, going under cross-examination for the first time in her testimony, her second day on the stand. And while she was on the stand, she says that her trauma brain often wins over her logic brain. The former female assistant testifying, claiming she was physically and sexually abused by
by Combs. Today, Mia answered questions as to why she worked for Combs for so long and why she did things like make scrapbooks for his birthday, despite the alleged abuse. Mia saying, quote, "I was young and manipulated and eager to survive." I'm unraveling a lot of this now in therapy, she went on to say. She also said she thought making Combs a scrapbook would make him happy. The assistant also worked under Combs for 8 years, testifying she was sexually assaulted by the rapper just a few months into her employment and multiple times throughout the years she worked for him. The defense attorney suggesting at least 3 times today that Mia was making up the sexual assault allegations, asking her, quote, "Mr. Combs never had unwanted, non-consensual, forcible sexual contact with you. Isn't that true?" Mia answers, "What I said in this courtroom is true. I have not lied to anyone at all." Mia will be back on the stand for more cross-examination on Monday morning. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump making headlines outside of the courtroom, being asked for the first time about this trial from a reporter in the Oval Office. The president responding to a question that was posed to him on whether he would pardon Sean Diddy Combs if he was convicted of a federal crime. The president responding and saying he'd have to look at the facts. That does it from here from Lower Manhattan, the federal courthouse, on another week of testimony that is now wrapped up. Andrew, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Richard, we're about to play some of that sound in the Oval Office today. That question was asked by our colleague, Fox's Peter Ducey. So, what is going on next when they get back to court on Monday? Who are going to be the witnesses next week? Do we know?
You know, we're not sure of the way. Well, we know that Mia will be back on the stand on Monday. She has to finish up her cross-examination, and then the prosecution will have to call more witnesses. We believe more personal assistants will be called. Again, this is only week 3, and the prosecution, I believe, has at least another 3 to 4 weeks of witnesses. So there's a lot more to come out of this.
It's always good to see you. Great reporting. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Andrew. You too.
Right. In the meantime, here, like we promised, if you didn't catch this live in the Oval Office today, our colleague Fox's Peter Ducey asked President Trump, sitting behind the resolute desk there in the Oval, whether or not he would consider a pardon if Diddy were to be convicted here. This was his answer. Let's listen.
But back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Okay, so wanted to let you listen to that exchange there. That was asked by Peter Ducey, and whether or not the president would consider a pardon of Sean Diddy Combs, with the caveat, of course, if he were to be convicted here. He essentially said he hasn't really thought about it. He's got to see the facts, but he didn't rule it out. All right. In the meantime here, still so many of these kind of gloomy live vantage points over the Big Apple. Still so much more to get to this hour. Let's take a quick commercial break. First, we'll see you in 2 minutes.
Let's go.
Yo, the Diddy thing is crazy. I gotta hear that again.
And this one's a little bit more of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't, it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know, I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Mr. President. President Trump meeting with Elon Musk. Let's listen.
Fantastic job. He didn't need this. He didn't need it. And we find out government's a little nasty on occasion. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, hello, President Trump.
Government's a little bit nasty, Peter. You haven't noticed that. You've had a charmed life, right?
You told me.
Very charmed. I think you've had a charmed life. I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. The income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years. Really, very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell they already fixed the trade, or not fix it, but to cut it in half? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the tariffs hit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does call into question some of the conventional wisdoms. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next month when we get this number, or we see some of the other numbers like current accounts, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut half in 1 month.
Not bad. Not bad.
Come on, guys.
I see Howard and Scott are here, so it's great. You guys want to stand over here? You might as well. You're the ones that help produce those numbers, and it'll only get better. The tariffs are so important, and that's why we were so happy with the decision yesterday, where the tariffs continued, because without the tariffs, our nation would be imperiled. We would really be imperiled. I think I can say that with great surety, Scott and Howard. And so we were very happy to get that decision, that big decision yesterday. And today it's about a man named Elon, and he's one of the greatest business leaders and innovators the world has ever produced. He stepped forward to put his very great talents into the service of our nation, and we appreciate it. And just want to say that Elon has worked tirelessly helping lead the most sweeping and consequential government reform program in generations. And the kinds of things that he's found and his people have found. He's brought a group of very smart people in, and they found things that are pretty unbelievable. I have to say that the numbers that we're talking about are substantial, but they're going to be very much more substantial with time, because many of the things that we're working on right now, we're going to have to remember Elon as we find them, but the numbers could double and triple. Because many, many things, we don't want to go out with them until we're sure, but we've found things that are unbelievably stupid and unbelievably bad. With the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon's delivered a colossal change in the old ways of doing business in Washington. Doge has installed geniuses with an engineering mindset and unbelievably talented people and computers. I actually asked Elon one time, what's their primary thing? And they have a lot of primary things, all having to do with being smart. But he said the thing that they're really the best at is working with computers so that they can't be outsmarted by somebody that's not so honest, that happens to also be good with computers, but not as good as these people. But the mindset in the senior ranks of every federal department, and it's really changed. And with Elon's guidance, they're helping to detect fraud/waste and modernize broken and outdated systems. So as you know, we're talking about various systems and changing systems. And, sadly, it takes a long time to do that. You'll change, let's say, a system at IRS and computerize it properly where the job can be done in 1/10 the time, but it takes sometimes years to rebuild those systems. But we've started, in many cases, I will say that this has less to do with Elon, but the air traffic control systems, we're bidding out to the best companies in the world, those systems right now. They were horrible. What the previous administration was horrible what they did. They spent billions and billions of dollars, and in the end, it didn't even come close to working. They tried to hook up wire to copper, and it can't be done. And they just spent billions of dollars and just wasted money. Actually made the system much worse. So we're going to get a brand new modern system. Congress is working with us on that, and we're going to get it done as quickly as we can. But it's in the works, and once it's done, it'll be good for 30 years. But we have a system that's 48 years old and would have a modern computer hooked into a very outdated computer, and they don't hook up. I mean, they didn't hook up. So after spending billions of dollars, they turned on the system, and in never any cases, from local to countrywide, they never worked. More than 75,000 bureaucrats have voluntarily left their taxpayer-funded jobs to come out and really do the job. Countless wasteful and unnecessary contracts have been terminated, and you know that we have terminated many, many contracts, and many contracts, Elon, are right now being looked at, and it may be 6 months, it may be almost a year in some cases. We're going through procedures, we're going through courts, and we'll remember you as we announce billions of dollars of extra waste, fraud, and abuse. Just as an example, Doge canceled $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, $101 million, and that was just a small section of the Department of Education. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City, and the landlord never made the kind of money that he made in the last short period of time. $59 million to a hotel in New York City. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. Does anyone know about Burma? $42 million for social and behavioral change in Uganda. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. I can say it's $2 billion to Stacey Abrams and her environmental movement. There was $100 in the account, and all of a sudden they found $2 billion in the account. And I assume that's being looked at. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I assume that's being looked at. Think of that, $2 billion. And then Lee will tell you there's another one over there for $20 billion being spent on another environmental cause. $20 billion, not 20 million, a lot, not 200,000, which is a lot. So think of it, in her case, you have $100, and now all of a sudden she gets hit with an infusion of $2 billion just before I take office. $20 million for Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. Nobody knows what that's all about. Nobody's been able to find it. $8 million for making mice transgender. So they spend $8 million on making mice transgender. And those are better than many of the others. I could sit here all day and read things just like that, but we have other things to do. So it's much, much more than just that. We're totally committed to making the Doge cuts permanent and stopping much more of the waste in the months to come. We want to get our great, big, beautiful bill finished and done. After that, we put some of this into the bill, but most of it's going to come later. We're going to have it cauterized by Congress, affirmed by Congress. In some cases, we'll make cuts. In some cases, we'll just use it in a different layer to save the money. But it's hundreds of billions of dollars. DOGE has also fully modernized the federal retirement process and continues to work very hard on the IRS modernization. But we're taking that over with DOGE. Many of the DOGE people, Elon, are staying behind too, so they're not leaving. And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling it's his baby, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of things. But Elon's service to America has been without comparison in modern history. He's already running one of the most innovative car companies in the world. You look at his factories and compare them with some of the old factories we have, and it's a big difference. And the most successful space company, and I guess in history, you would have to say the largest free speech platform on the internet, etc. Yet Elon willingly, with all of the success, he willingly accepted the outrageous abuse and slander and lies and attacks because he does love our country. I know that very much. He loves our country. He comes from another country that's going through trials and tribulations, I would say. But he's all about the USA, and Americans owe him a great debt of gratitude. So I just want to thank Elon for his time as special government employee. Can you imagine? They call him an employee, but it's a special government employee, and for coming and helping us. And he really has changed the mindset of a lot of people. A lot of people thought, maybe we'll cut 1% or 2% or 3%. Then they said, wow, we can cut a lot more than that. And we're going to do it very surgically. We're going to continue on the march. We're making America great again. When I was in Saudi Arabia, we were in, as you know, three really great countries, predominantly the three. Qatar was great, UAE was great, Saudi Arabia, incredible. Such an incredible experience to be in those three countries. But the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and I must tell you, the great leaders of the other two that we just mentioned, they all said the same thing, that the United States is the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, we thought it was dead. It was like a dead country. And it would have been a dead country if we didn't have the right result on November 5th. It would have been a horrible, horrible situation was going on with the borders, with transgender for everyone, men playing in women's sports, and so much more. But they were saying the hottest country anywhere in the world. And then I played that little clip because that was one person who's respected. But there were two people, because Joe was in that one too. Joe's a good man. But that was one group of people saying something about the success of what we've done over the last 4 months. They cannot believe it. In the one case, they said they've never seen anything like it as long as they've been doing what they've been doing. They've been doing it for a long time. So I want to thank Elon for helping. And again, the United States right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's no country as hot. And we're doing really well. We came, when I left, we had no wars, we had no problems. We defeated ISIS, we rebuilt our military, and we had no inflation. And when I came back, we had a lot of inflation. We had wars all over the place. We had the embarrassment in Afghanistan where we gave up billions and billions of dollars of military equipment, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, I believe that strongly. We have Russia with Ukraine. We had the attack on Israel in October, the horrible attack, October 7th. Horrible, horrible attack. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And now we have something where we're really healing a lot of that. We stopped India and Pakistan from fighting. I believe that could have turned out into a nuclear disaster. And I want to thank the leaders of India, the leaders of Pakistan, and I want to thank my people also. We talked trade, and we said we can't trade with people that are shooting at each other and potentially using nuclear weapons. And they're great leaders in those countries, and they understood and they agreed. and that all stopped, and we're stopping others from fighting also, because ultimately we can fight better than anybody. We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest.
So basically, President Trump and Elon Musk. If y'all tapped into Raw Dope in the beginning, Elon Musk has left his position in the White House. He will keep being President Trump advisor, but he left his position in the White House, by the way, so y'all can ever know that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? People, a lot of people don't believe in Elon Musk. You know what I mean? A lot of people just don't. But hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, bro. You know what I mean? Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment.
They wiped out ISIS in 3 weeks. They said it would take 5 years, and we did it in 3 weeks. And that's the way it is. But we don't want to have to use our military. We want to be peace through strength when we can. And that's the way we're going to have it. So I just want to thank Elon and all of his people. Most of those people are staying. Almost all of them are staying, and they're going to be with us. And you're going to see the results coming long into the future. Even a year and 2 years later, you're going to see a lot of the results. And those hundreds of billions of dollars are going to be adding up, and they're going to continue to add. It'll be interesting. It's really interesting to see what the final number is going to be. But again, Elon gave an incredible service. Nobody like him. And he had to go through the slings and the arrows, which is a shame because he's an incredible patriot. The good news is that 90% of the country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave a little special something we have here. Thank you. A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country. Thank you.
Hey, please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. Again, man. Zion Williams, allegations against him. P. Diddy, Trump is considering P. Diddy pardon if he get found guilty. Larry Hoover should be in the Illinois State Prison. Offset and Cardi B, y'all gotta sit down and get it together. But hey, I thank everybody for tapping in. Please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say will be used against you on the internet. Raw Dope Podcast Vlog. We out.